throw in the postseason where you go, what was he throwing at? Where was it? I mean, and there was that one interception against Kansas City. I mean, that's the only one that really you could point to. So he's just been playing phenomenal football. He's making great decisions, and he's putting the ball where it needs to be.
Yeah, and look, I think the great thing about this sort of debate, if you want to call it that, is both of these quarterbacks have faced adversity. So Joe Burrow had to overcome 9 sacks. Matthew Stafford had to overcome trailing 17-7 to the 49ers. And how about a 27-3 advantage? They tie it up. You feel like if it's going to go into overtime in Tampa, that game is over. The Bucs are going to advance to the NFC Championship. Instead, Stafford recognizes a busted coverage, and he makes the throw of his career, the catch of Cooper Kupp's career, and in 13 seconds, they get themselves set up for a game-winning field goal. He overcomes that adversity. By the way, up 27-3, he's playing a perfect game. 4 fumbles by his teammates is what led to that comeback. So he digs them out of that. And then down 17-7 to their nemesis. They had lost 6 straight games. You mentioned the almost interception. He's able to overcome that, get a field goal on that drive, and then get another drive in which they get the game-winning score. So Stafford's overcome it as well. That's why I'd go with him. I just feel like the defense has kind of lifted the Bengals to those victories late in games, whereas Matthew Stafford has lifted the Rams to victories.
And listen, the knee-jerk reaction is to take the veteran, right? Now, he hasn't been on this stage before, right? But you take the veteran, the guy who has seen more. To me, though, you can't discount Joe Burrow in college, playing on the big stage, playing in the biggest game that there was in college, and ending it on a couch with his leg up and a cigar in his mouth. So I can't get that image out of my mind. That's why I have confidence he's going to play well.
Yeah, the ultimate, like, that's the crazy stat, right, is Joe Burrow has never lost a playoff game. He won the Fiesta Bowl his junior year, his 4th year, I should say. He won the national championship, the playoff game, and the SEC championship. The guy doesn't lose. When the chips are down, he does not lose. Like you said, we were forced to make that selection. And it's a great point you bring up about Stafford only having 3 playoff games experience, never have been in the Super Bowl before. The one thing that I've heard players talk about, though, they say it's not the youth that kind of leads to maybe one team not playing as well as the other. It's the urgency from the vets. It's those guys that have taken the hits, that have played 13 years, that recognize how hard it is to get to this moment. And there's just that little bit of extra making sure you don't waste it. And I don't know if Joe Burrow quite has that yet because it's all come so fast.
Hopefully he understands that these opportunities can sometimes be fleeting as well. When these young guys get right into it, they think, oh, I'm going to be here 20 times. That doesn't always work that way.
Let's get to, we mentioned the Tampa game, and the Rams knocked Tampa out of the playoffs as opposed to defending their crown. They win the Lombardi last year. Tom Brady has called it a career. Gronk has not. And earlier he mentioned that he likes the idea of potentially playing with Joe Burrow. What do you make of that?
I love it. I think it's a great fit. I mean, we're seeing Tom Brady, and we're talking about a quarterback that's been compared to a young Tom Brady.
Right.
Steve Spagnuolo really seemed to start that late in the season when he was talking about Burrow and the way that he processes things and the way that he makes decisions, back to my previous point about how solid he's played in the postseason. So I'm sure Gronk, if coaches are seeing that, a guy who has played with Tom Brady is seeing that, and that's probably why he says, yeah, I'd like to play with young Tom Brady. So I like the fit. I think C.J. Uzomah's a great player, but to add another weapon as well, you can run 2 tight ends on the field at one time. I think it's a great fit.
Yeah, and as someone, you know, that covers the league in the manner you do, Mike, like, what do you think of that? Do you assume, like, do you believe Gronk is going to come back and play next season?
I think that everything that he has said in the past about I would only play for Tom Brady is kind of sort of out the window at this point, because he came back, he had success, he feels good from what I understand. I mean, this is a guy who, you got to remember, early in his career did not feel good. All the back stuff and the arm stuff that he went through, and really, yeah, he's been banged up this year. He had the rib thing, but his body is still holding up. So I think, yeah, I think there's a shot here. I mean, and the fact that he's still talking about potentially playing with Burrow shows me where his mind is. It's on still playing. So, yeah, I know what he said in the past about Brady's the only guy for me, but I think now he's starting to look. And it's going to have to be right. It's going to have to be the right situation, and it's going to have to be the right quarterback, which is why when he's talking about Burrow, I think I got to put them to the top. Like, suppose they don't win this game, right? And you say, oh, boy, if they had Gronk, that could be the thing that puts them over the top. We may be having that conversation in a couple weeks.
What about this? You mentioned young quarterback. Taken the same year, but number 6 overall instead of number 1. The Chargers were on a 1-year contract with Jared Cook. They're developing Trey McKitty. Their tight ends were wildly productive. It was just a collection of them. It was Donald Parham and Steven Anderson and Jared Cook. What about putting Gronk out there?
Well,
with Justin Herbert in L.A.
Well, I was going to say, if you're asking about the location, having been here for a little under 24 hours. I mean, I've certainly been to LA before, but coming back out here was a nice reminder. I mean, we've got a heat warning on Sunday,
yes.
all right? I left 40 degrees back in Jersey. Yeah, I think Gronk's going to be okay with the idea of playing in LA, so I like your theory. It's, you know, the idea of one of these young quarterbacks that's on the cusp of doing something great, and Gronk sitting there saying, hey, I can play with this guy, I can trust this guy, and I can maybe help get the team over the top. That's the kind of situation that he would look for. So, yeah, if I haven't talked to Gronk, I don't know anything specifically about that, but you're asking me about that, I would think it would be an inviting opportunity.
And both he and Tom mentioned, hey, you know, we can get used to this Tampa thing. After all these years in New England and that weather, practicing and living in this is a heck of a lot nicer and better for the body. So we'll see how that all works out through Super Bowl week. Still to come, we got Justin Jefferson going to join us. You'll hear from the Minnesota Vikings second-year receiver, followed up his impressive rookie campaign with a splendid second season. Oh, look at that. The drone shot of downtown LA and underneath it, the industrial area of Vernon, followed by the glorious coast of Malibu.
I can see your house from here, Money.
Actually, you know what's interesting is I truly did live across the street from that for 4 years when I went to Pepperdine University. So we got more Super Bowl today next. As we welcome you back to Super Bowl today, presented by Bud Light Seltzer. Oh, look at that. That looks considerably different than what I was used to seeing driving around town. Echo Park, bellying up against the back of Dodger Stadium. There's so many great locations we get to share with you today on Super Bowl today. How about a conversation with the rookie sensation from 2020 turned unbelievable sophomore receiver, one of the best in the league, in that conversation in just his second year. Conversation here with Justin Jefferson.
We're looking at Joe Burrow right now, and everybody's talking about his glasses and his bling and the cigars. Take us into the locker room. What makes this guy so special?
I'm going to take you into the huddle.
Okay.
More than that, you know, just him being so confident, him being so calm, even in those big moments, those big games, it kind of helped us, you know, just be calm with him, you know, have that confidence with him. And he's a mobile quarterback. He has that swagger. I love Joe. I love Joe to death. And then he has one of the best young rookies in the league, Jamar, that go up and make a play at any time. Yeah. So their connection is crazy.
Yeah. So he comes in, you and Clyde and Jamar, everybody on that team is already there. Joe comes in. When did you know that this guy is different? We have a chance to win a national championship.
I mean, the first day he came in during summer workouts, I think it was my sophomore year, The first time he ever came into us, we was doing summer workouts, and you can tell that from then he already had that confidence. He had that swagger. We call him Sunshine. When he first came in, he had the long hair, the long blonde hair. So I mean, he always had that pep to him, that swagger to him. But as soon as we came in junior year with that new offense, we was launching the ball, we was going here. We knew we was going to make it far. We knew once we was killing the defense in practice, because you know LSU known for defense mostly. We knew when we was killing them, we was going to have a big year.
Well, let's just talk about it. You talked about how you want to be here. What do you guys have to do to get over the hump and find yourself in this moment?
I mean, it's crazy because we was only one game away from being in the playoffs. I mean, all of those games we had that we lost by 1 point, 3 points, 7 points. It's tough, man. We went to 3 overtimes this season. That's the most I've ever been in my whole career. So it definitely was those 1-2 games that we could have won and we could have been playing in the playoffs, having a chance. But you know, it comes with it. It just wasn't our year. You know, we just had some missing pieces that we need to get, and I feel like we can definitely go far. You know, we have some playmakers on our team to do it. You know, we have some guys that really want it and really want to reach to this point. So I feel like once we get those additional 1, 2, 3 pieces in, I feel like we'll be in that same conversation.
You got one of the toughest pieces to get in you. So you got that. You got the talent. And you do have an opportunity here this week to do some work with Old Spice. Tell us what you're doing.
Yeah, definitely happy to partner with Old Spice. Definitely we have the new Gentleman's Blend that is gentle on the skin. Okay. We have that fresh lavender mint that have you fresh for days. And then we have that 48-hour deodorant that'll keep you long-lasting freshness. So definitely excited to partner up with them and to do good things with them.
Not just the length of the product, right?
We could be a little more fresh. I think.
Yeah, some of the fragrances. I could do some lavender.
We could use that. We could use that.
You never can go wrong with the lavender.
Pro Bowl wide receiver of the Minnesota Vikings, Justin Jefferson, down here making his rounds. Radio Row.
So off of that conversation with an exceptional wide receiver, let's go going strong, presented by Castrol Edge, and talk about the standout, exceptional wide receivers we're going to see on the field. Super Bowl 56, Cooper Kupp with the Triple Crown over the course of the regular season, in the conversation as the MVP of the league. We'll see that at NFL Honors, whether or not that comes to fruition, or maybe the Offensive Player of the Year. And Ja'Marr Chase, for all the concerns we heard in preseason, and the ball is rotating differently. Yeah, turns out ridiculous preseason training camp conversations. Ja'Marr Chase, one of the great, if not the greatest, rookie campaign we've ever seen from a wide receiver. So between these two, like, which do you think is more important? Like, this one has to have a big game for the team to win.
Yeah, well, I would say this. What's another word for important that you see there? Valuable, right? And who's the guy that we've been talking about as a potential most valuable player? It is Cooper Kupp, which isn't to say that Ja'Marr Chase and his screens that he takes to the house and quick slants and all that stuff aren't important. But you look at Kupp and you look at the production. I mean, for the most part, this entire season, it's 90 yards and up. It's a double-digit targets. Week in and week out, what the guy has done is absolutely incredible. So to me, I have seen the Bengals win games this year where Chase is held in check. And I also think that Jalen Ramsey certainly has it in his mind that he's going to try to do that. I mean, he's going to see a bunch of Ja'Marr Chase. I don't think it's going to be exclusive, but he's going to see a bunch of them. Nobody really can lock on Cooper Kupp and say, okay, this guy's not going to have production. This guy's not going to have targets. So what he does is absolutely vital to what the Rams do.
Yeah, if they are able to lock him up, that would be something that Matthew Stafford is not used to, because, as you said, he is going off every single game. The one reason why I would make the case for Chase is I can envision you talk about how wide is the path to victory. I don't know if there is a path for the Bengals to win a defensive battle. So I think there's a path for the Rams to do that. Aaron Donald and Von Miller and Jalen Ramsey dominate, and they win a game 10-3 or 13-7. I can't see that with the Bengals. So I think Ja'Marr Chase is so important, because if you force them to commit resources because he's having a big day, and now it's not just Jalen Ramsey, now they've got to adjust everything to try to slow him down. Yeah. That's what opens everything up for the Bengals to get a win in Super Bowl 56.
Well, and I would say, to your point, and you're going to get into this a little bit later, Ja'Marr Chase is a wide receiver. He's also a pass protector.
Yes.
Okay, and a lot of things that they're going to do is a big part of that. So he's going to be just enormous in what he does on Sunday. But I just, in my mind, said, okay, let's say 3 catches for 30 yards from either one of these guys, the Bengals, to me, have done it, and they can go elsewhere. There'll be attention on Chase, so you could potentially see some Higgins or Boyd. Those guys kind of go off. I said to myself, if Cooper Kupp has like 3 catches for 30 yards, some way, somehow, the Rams are in serious trouble.
It is, and it's funny, you know, when you talk about the number 2, and this is nothing against Tyler Boyd and T. Higgins. They are exceptional pass catchers, but the number 2 on the Rams is Odell Beckham Jr. Like, if they control Cooper Kupp, Matthew Stafford has OBJ.
I think he's going to eat too. I do. I think he's going to eat too. Another thing we're going to get.
There you go.
In the rest
you got all these previews to get to, and we still have a lot more show to come. Great conversations just ahead. Oh, look at that beautiful beach. You see the cresting waves breaking. You get in that whitewash, you learn how to surf. Don't be afraid. The water's only about 58 degrees. You'll get used to it after about 5 minutes in your trunks. I promise, Mike. SoFi Stadium, site of Super Bowl 56. You'll hear from Hall of Famer Barry Sanders next.
I don't believe you about the water.
Trust me. Just trust me. Welcome back to Super Bowl Today, presented by Bud Light Seltzer Hard Soda. A look at downtown Los Angeles. That building right there, it's got a spire on the top. It claims to be the tallest. I say no, the spire shouldn't count. It should be the top floor that declares the tallest, and that's the tallest, the U.S. Bank building there. In the background, just a little L.A. thing. Sorry, I get excited about these things.
Anything you don't know?
Barry Sanders, one of the greatest of all time. Certainly he's excited about Matthew Stafford, you would assume. Another great Lion that has found his way to another team and into Super Bowl 56. He joined our Super Bowl crew earlier.
The last time the Bengals were this good, you were still in the league. So what's it like to see the Bengals right now be in the Super Bowl and just have this turnaround happen so quickly for them?
Well, as a Lions fan and former player, it gives me a lot of hope, actually. But it's impressive, honestly, to see what they've done. You look at the team that they had to beat to be here. You look at the fact that they've been able to ride the shoulders of their young quarterback. He has that kind of mentality that says, hey, look, guys, get used to seeing me here. I'm going to be here often. And you love seeing that confidence. And, hey, look, they have a great team, man. They have a great young team, and they've got a shot.
Okay, I was going to ask a question about the Lions, but we don't have that much time, so I'm going to go right to it. So I showed my boys one of your runs. It was against the New England Patriots where you kind of mixed the guy up. You gave him an inside move, then you broke out. You went 2 or 3 steps, then you kind of put your foot in the ground, went back inside, and the guy was all twisted. How do I coach that to them? How do I give that to them? That's what I want to know. How can I give my kids that type of ability?
You may have to send them to me for a few weeks.
Okay.
You know, the Mary Sanders School of Running or something like that.
I got that. Let's set that up. I'll make sure they get up there. We get some work going because we definitely need that move in their arsenal.
When you hear people talk about the running back position being expendable, and then you see these teams that make it to the Super Bowl that have really good running games and have these running backs like Joe Mixon and Cam Akers and Sony Michel and that are helping these offenses go, what do you think about? What do you have to say to those people that just kind of cast off the running back position?
Well, I feel like, you know, hey, look, it shows that the running back position is here to stay. It's not going anywhere. These are great examples of teams that need the running game. They've used it all year. Obviously, you know, you would think the Bengals probably use it a little more, you know, and so yeah. I mean, there's a lot of examples of teams. You know, if you go down the list, whether it's Derrick Henry, right, or whether it's Jonathan Taylor, you know, or Nick Chubb, or whatever the case may be. So. In today's NFL, even though it had become kind of very passing oriented, there's still a lot of very, very good runners who you can count on, and you're better off giving the ball, you know, 20 times a game to increase your chances of winning.
All right, before we let you get out of here, I got to know what you have going on with Rocket Mortgage Super Bowl Squares.
Oh, absolutely. Well, it's just, you know, Rocket Mortgage once again is back with a game of squares, bigger and better than ever. They're giving fans a chance to win a lot of cash during the big game. So with every score, they're going to give away $50,000. They're going to be 2 grand prizes of $500,000, one given away at halftime and one given away at the end of the game. Go to rocketmortgagesquares.com to get signed up. The entry window closes this Friday at this Friday at midnight.
Okay.
This Friday at midnight, February 11th at midnight. And so it's free to play. So you know, all those fans out there, please get signed up and maybe win some cash during the game.
It's free. You got nothing to lose, Barry.
Absolutely.
You're an absolute legend. A Lions legend right there and an NFL legend. Thank you so much for joining us.
Been my pleasure.
I could look at Maurice Jones-Drew in a suit all day. Just watch him sitting there in a suit, wondering, like, why can I not be in a sweatshirt right now? Why am I sitting in a suit?
Better than when he sits in the chairs in the shorts.
Oh, yes.
At training camp.
Exactly.
We'll take the suit.
Quadzilla. Here we go. Off of that conversation about how important the running backs are, which running back do you think is more important, or which running back do you think will have more success in Super Bowl 56, Cam Akers or Joe Mixon?
I'm going to go Cam Akers, and I look at what Cincinnati has done run defense-wise down the stretch. They've given up 100, 133. There was a game they gave up 39, but then after that, 155, 205. In the playoffs, 103, 140, 139. Now, that is not to say that they have poor run defense, although they lost Larry Ogunjobi up front. Who's one of their better defensive tackles. That was a tough loss for them. It's just more of how they're playing teams and saying, well, we're going to sit back and we're going to play a little more 2 safeties high. We're not going to let you beat us deep there. And I think that that's going to extend here. Now, look, the difference is you wanted Kansas City to take those dinks and dunks. Right. You wanted Kansas City to run the football. You were totally happy if that was the case if you were the Bengals. The Bengals do understand that a lot of what the Rams do is predicated, the passing game is predicated off the running game, but I still think that philosophy is kind of going to extend to this game. They're okay with them running the ball. So I think Akers is going to have his yardage. I think he's going to, you know, if he doesn't get to 100, I think he's going to get close there. There's just no question in my mind that he is going to have the production on Sunday. Now, will he go off for 150, 200? Probably not, because I think at some point the Bengals defense is going to stiffen and trust itself, certainly as they get backed up closer to the red zone. But I can't see any way that he doesn't have production on Sunday.
It's a tough one for me, because I heard someone talk about, oh, this Rams defense is only allowing 54 rushing yards per game in the playoffs. Well, yeah, that's how they designed their defense, to slow down the San Francisco 49ers. They were not going to allow the run to beat them as it had the previous 6 times. They wanted Jimmy Garoppolo to throw it all over the yard, and he wasn't effective doing it. They played Arizona, who fell behind by 4 scores. They played Tampa, who fell behind 27-3. That's going to help your run defense numbers. Cincinnati, they held Derrick Henry to 3 yards per carry. They started rushing 3 in the second half of that Kansas City game and allowed just 3 points. So I think this is going to be a heck of a chess match for how the running backs are used. You said it. Sean McVay, for all of the accolades, the pass design is, he wants to run the ball. Everything has got to come off of that wide zone and then all of the pre-snap motion. So Cam Akers is going to be vitally important. The one reason why I think Joe Mixon is going to make a difference here and why he's going to have the better game is, you said it, too high shell. That's what Raheem Morris is going to do. You are not going to beat us with giant plays down there, both defenses.
Yeah.
Both, you aren't going to do it. And I'm just going to take the 6', 230-pound guy.
Yeah.
You know, even though the offensive line has not been great in the middle, and what's the best way to neutralize Aaron Donald and Von Miller? Run right at him. And run right at him with a guy that's that big. The other thing I love about Joe Mixon, some of the things that Zach Taylor has done this past season, they'll run that bunch formation, that trip formation to the boundary, and they'll run Mixon on the outside. And he's not running wheels or just short dump off pass. He's running 9 routes, and he's got the talent and the ability to catch the ball. He's got 4.4 speed. He's such an exceptional player. And if they decide to play too high, and look, both of these defenses, like you said it, they're going to force the offenses to do the same thing. You're not beating us with the big play.
See, it's all about the phrasing to me, right? Which running back will have the biggest impact? If they phrased it, which running back has to have the biggest
there
impact?
You go.
Then I would have gone Mixon. But which will have the biggest impact? See, I'm taking the safe bets. I took Kupp earlier. I'm taking Cam Akers, just guys that I see that I know are going to go out there and really going to produce. And I just think the opportunities are going to be there given by the Cincinnati.
To me, like what it speaks to when we went through this pre-production-wise, it just speaks to it being a great game. I really think this is going to be a tight game because of how many different ways these offenses can beat you. And the defenses, we're only going to rush 3 the entire second half, Patrick Mahomes. What are you going to do? You're going to pirouette more times than you complete passes, and we're going to win. Like, it's so interesting the way both of these teams play.
Well, we're owed a great game after last year. I mean, I remember watching last year's Super Bowl and saying, oh, that's right. The Super Bowl used to suck. And now you get a clunker, and you're just like, I don't know what to do with myself in the fourth quarter here. No, this is going to be a game in the fourth quarter.
Exactly right, and it can play out a number of ways. Giant, high-scoring, high-flying affair, or defensive battle. All right, still to come. We got a lot ahead. You've seen Hall of Famers. And we got another one for you. Hall of Fame defensive back Charles Woodson. Here's a look at Hollywood. We got all the different places. Oh, Ripley's Believe It or Not. Mike Garafolo's favorite spot. More Super Bowl Today's ahead.
Like I'm on a tour bus with you.
And we're back on Super Bowl Today, and it is time for Say It Louder, presented by Bud Light Seltzer Hard Soda. Got it right here in my. Oh, I like the
bucket hat time.
you know what? This is going home with me.
Well, see, I haven't
right
seen.
I'm all right with this.
I haven't seen sun. I haven't seen a whole lot of sun.
Works on you as well.
So I'm afraid that the scalp's going to get burned and start to peel. And so this is good. This will also protect the neck.
Problem solved, dude.
And you could probably carry some Bud Light Seltzer
Exactly.
in the hat if you needed to.
Let me tell you, I mean, I got a Bud Light Seltzer hard soda in each hand, a 12er, and I'm going to the beach, and I got this in my trunks and my Crocs. Oh, I'm going to fit right in with these LA folk, let me tell you. All right, let's get to say it louder. Bold predictions. Some call it hot takes.
Yeah.
Bold predictions. Something you could envision happening, but would surprise a lot of folks.
So this is why we're wearing the bucket hat.
Exactly.
This is the bold prediction hat. This is you start to feel the power of the hat.
Don't
What's
you
my
feel it?
first bold prediction? Oh, Trey Hendrickson. That's right, Trey Hendrickson. We got two of them. So I got Trey Hendrickson. My man is going to go off, I truly believe. Just because he's just been, look at, I mean, he never quits. He never quits. And I hate to do the high motor thing, but that's what this guy is.
He's a high motor guy.
He's also a great technician as well. Now he's going to be going up against Andrew Whitworth. So this is a bold on top of bold prediction for him to tie the. I mean, he's joining Coney, Ely, Darnell Dockett. I forget who else is at 3. I'll look it up in my notes here. But
Richard
I
Dent
just
get 3?
I got to check. It's in my notes. I probably should have had him ready. I was too busy putting the bucket hat on.
Von Miller.
Von Miller did he have 3?
I think so. He got
in
the
the
MVP,
same
right?
game as Coney Ely? Coney Ely had 3 in that game.
Is that right?
Yeah. Now listen, some of these guys didn't win the game. So
Right.
I'm
Panthers
not
didn't win the
necessarily
game.
picking the Bengals to win the game. I just feel like Trey Hendrickson's going to have his one-on-one matchups. The Bengals are trusting him to win him, and I think he's going to.
So I'm going to go with local Alta Loma High School hero. Took 2 years off. Got the call from Sean McVay after the injury to Taylor Rapp. Eric Weddle has not played football since 2019. He shows up the final few weeks of the season, and all of a sudden, Rapp gets hurt. He's playing 85% of the snaps in the divisional round, 100% of the snaps in the NFC Championship. Said it took him 36 hours to feel right again. But what did he do in that game? There was a 2nd and 10, and he stuffed Elijah Mitchell?
Yes.
I always screw that one up. I always say Elijah Moore. Elijah Mitchell for a loss of 1. It led to the 3rd and long. It led to a punt, and the Rams come back and win that game. Eric Weddle is going to make a difference-making play in this game.
Can we
and
define, we're talking
like an interception?
Okay,
There's going to be a tip for a pick.
All right.
There's going to be it's a 4th and 1, and they go for it, and he hits the hole and stuffs Joe Mixon. Like he's such a smart player because that's what he's using. You know, it's that instinct, and I can think this through faster than you can. And it's going to be one of those plays that's talked about. Like, can you believe this guy was on a couch playing pickup basketball with Antonio Gates 3 weeks before he was in a Rams uniform, and now he's in the Super Bowl winning it for the Los Angeles
I was
Rams.
just pushing you to define the play because, you know, it's bold predictions, and if you're bold enough to wear the hat,
right,
you'd definitely be bold enough to
I'm going to go. He's going to make a stop on a 4th and short, and he's going to hit the hole, and he's going to get a turnover.
All right, back to my first bold prediction.
Yes.
Darnell Dockett from the Cardinals, Coney Ely from the Panthers, Grady Jarrett from the Falcons, Reggie White also had 3 sacks.
Okay.
3 of those, the first 3, so 3 out of 4, lost the Super Bowl despite having 3 sacks. Now, here's what's interesting. L.C. Greenwood had 4 sacks for Pittsburgh against Dallas in Super Bowl 10, but individual sacks were not officially tracked until 1982. So when I talk about the sack record, I'm going to say 3 sacks, not 4 for Trey Hendrickson right there.
I believe Super Bowl 10, also quarterbacks wearing the same number, 12, Staubach, Bradshaw. Super Bowl 56, one of the rare occasions where the quarterbacks wear the same number, 9, Matthew Stafford.
Amazing. It's
Joe
the power
Burrow.
of the bucket hat for him to bring it back home here.
More important, second bold prediction with your bold prediction hat on.
All right, I'm going to go from offense to defense and from Bengals to Rams. I'm going to go with Odell Beckham. I mentioned earlier in the show that I think that he is going to have some production on Sunday. I will say he will have better production than Jamar Chase. Now, part of this is because I mentioned Jalen Ramsey, the cornerback, who is looking forward to the challenge of facing Jamar Chase. He won't see him 100% of the time, but it'll be close to 100% of the time. So I think that that's going to help us to shut some things down here. And I say Beckham will outduel his LSU buddy. Beckham's been hot. I'm riding the hot hand here. It really is. You know, we can get into the whole storyline about, you know, what he was like before and what he was like in Cleveland and all that. For right now, it doesn't matter for Odell Beckham because he's in the right place at the right time. He's feeling good. He's producing. I think he's going to produce on Sunday.
So you went from Bengals to Rams. I'm going from Rams to Bengals. You said hot hand. How about hot foot? And we're not in a baseball dugout. I'm talking hot foot.
Oh!
Evan Mack. I think a kicker can win the Super Bowl MVP. as someone who calls games in SoFi Stadium,
Yeah.
I watched Harrison Butker kick 2 58-yarders in the same game. They were good from 65.
Wow.
I watch it right. It is the perfect venue for kickers. McPherson has got a monster leg. I can totally see, because Zach Taylor kicks field goals. He's fine with it. He's going to break the record for most field goals in a postseason by a kicker his rookie year.
Yeah.
What if he kicks a 55, a 58, a 61, and they win a 12-7 game? You'd have to give him the MVP, right?
You think you can't get his jersey now? Wait till that happens. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, how many? He's gonna have to hit
like 4.
Yeah.
He kicks 4 field goals. They win 12-7, and they're all 50+, and there's a 60+ yarder in there. I mean, that one against the Titans that was from, what, 54? That thing was good from, like, 65.
Yeah, and he's confident. I mean, I would love him to come off the sideline and say, well, guys, looks like we're throwing a parade, kind of like he announced that we were going to the AFC Championship game a couple of weeks ago.
It is ridiculous, but I don't know.
Is it a walk-off win? It's got to be a walk-off win.
Has to be.
For him. Yeah, and we've had enough walk-off wins this postseason.
Yeah.
We should have enough.
See, there we go. See, now our bold prediction hats, we're putting it together. We're figuring it out. That's what it is. A walk-off. It's 60+, zeros on the clock. Bengals lose if he misses. Instead, they win by 2, 12-9. Ah, what a glorious day it would be in Super Bowl 56 on February 13th. All right, somebody who knows a little something about winning Super Bowls. Charles Woodson, Pro Football Hall of Famer, of course, did it with the Raiders, did it with the Packers, and he joined our Good Morning Football crew to talk Super Bowl.
You got Jalen Ramsey. We know he's going to have his hands full trying to slow down Jamar Chase and those Bengal receivers. Same thing on the Bengal side of things. You got Jesse Bates, Von Bell going up against Cooper Kupp and OBJ. How did you approach getting ready to go up against elite receivers in this league?
Well, for me, what I try to tell, a lot of the young players, don't get yourself necessarily caught up in the matchup in terms of, who their star receiver is. I don't know how they're going to, deploy Jalen Ramsey in this game. He moves around a lot, so I don't know if he'll be, locked in on Chase all game. But I tell guys, man, go in and play the offense. Play. It's all about personnel. It's all about situational football, and it's all about formations. The receivers got to go out there and run what play is called out there. So if you have a great grasp of the offense and what they like to do, where receivers are lined up in certain plays, then you play the offense, and that gives you the advantage. And then the other thing I tell them is if they do something that you're not quite prepared for, maybe you didn't see it on film, then you just got to go out and be a football player. So in that regard, man, just go out there and play the game that you know how to play, and that the rest will take care of itself. I think the other thing is that in terms of a Cooper Kupp and these guys in the slot receiver position, you got to run some bracket type of coverages because things get wide open in the middle of that field. And these guys are running these option routes, man. It gives them time to get open and find space. So they'll all have their hands full trying to guard these stud wide receivers. But hey, just go out there and play football, man. The rest will take care of itself.
Charles, it was always fun watching these Raiders win these games and talk to you afterwards. You were really on this ride. You had such an incredible career with the Packers, but I think most people associate you with that silver and black. You're as close to the Raiders now than you've been since your playing days. What was your reaction to the coaching moves? Telling Bisaccia, thank you, but we're moving on, and then bringing in Josh McDaniels and his host of New England buddies to come down there to Vegas. What's the reaction from Charles Woodson?
Yeah, we'll give Coach Bisaccia some credit because he certainly gained the respect and the love of these players, and a lot of them, were kind of campaigning to bring them back. But I think Mark Davis knew that he had to hit a home run in this coaching cycle, and he had to go out there and get the best fit to take this team into the future. And I think the best thing about hiring Josh McDaniels is him coming in and basically saying, you know what, Derek Carr is our guy. Not coming in and kind of, waffling, saying, we got to look at the film. We'll see what happens. We don't know. No. Derek's our guy. So you come in, with that stance and that mindset, and I think it just gives everybody, some confidence going into this system or this season that we have our quarterback. We're going to build off that, and we're going to build a winner. And he's a great offensive mind. I think that only helps Derek Carr, which ultimately helps the team. So I'm excited about that. And then all of the other, front office moves they made. I think Mark did a great job, and I don't think he gets a lot of credit for his knowledge of the game and running that organization. So great job by Mark Davis.
It means a lot coming from you, of course. You're a Hall of Famer, and on Thursday we find out which players get into the Pro Football Hall of Fame thanks to Ford. Fans now have a chance to be represented in the Pro Football Hall of Fame through the Ford Hall of Fans program. So you're joining us to announce the 3 fans. This is all very exciting. The 3 fans that are advancing to the finalist round and going to Super Bowl 56. So take it away, Charles. Go for it.
Yeah, so the Ford Hall of Fame, Hall of Fans, and the NFL, man, they've created this program that really incorporates the fans into the game by giving them a display within the Pro Football Hall of Fame and put them right next to all of the legends of the game. So I'm proud, to partner with Ford on this program, and it's my pleasure to announce the 3 fans started advancing to the finalist round, going to Super Bowl 56, and those fans are from the New York Giants, Amy Nolan.
Woo!
From the Chicago Bears, Terrence Young. And from the Detroit Lions, Michael Banks. So congratulations to those fans. You guys, you got a chance, man. And this weekend, you'll find out who'll be inducted into the Ford Hall of Fans and join me and all of the legends of pro football in Canton, Ohio. So congratulations to you 3 fans.
Well, when Super Bowl today returns, presented by Bud Light Seltzer, we still got quite a bit to come. We will have a conversation with Calvin Johnson. How about that? Awfully excited, I would assume, about his guy, Matthew Stafford. No question, being able to get into the Super Bowl after their time together. But it's time to focus. As I scramble around, I had the bold prediction hat on, and I think when I took it off, I lost a little bit of my brain power. So I'm going to put it back on. And, oh, that's right. We are going to talk about that Ram pass rush and how the Bengals are supposed to slow it down after allowing 12 sacks, 9 of them against the Titans, 3 against the Raiders and the Chiefs. What is the recipe for them to have success up front with that group of 5?
I really do think that it's going to be a big part of what you talked about earlier, which is definitely to run the football and certainly keep those guys at bay. And look, the other thing is, and you saw their offensive line coach talk about this, sometimes you just got to buck up and make the blocks, there's no great science to this. It's the Super Bowl, guys. We've got one-on-one matchups. We've got to win one-on-one matchups. They are confident that they're going to be able to handle this thing. I just, you got to squeeze in the middle, and you're going to have to force these guys to beat you on the edge. And you're seeing it right there. That's perfect right there. Get it out. Okay? You're not going to beat us up the middle. Aaron Donald's not going to wreck our day. Now, I understand what's on the outside for the Rams. And I understand that Von Miller might wreck our day. But you know what? It's going to have to happen that way. You can't block everything. To me, I'm squeezing the middle. You guys are going to have to beat us around the corner if you want to get home.
It's why I was just so dumbfounded by the people that questioned sending a 2nd and 3rd round pick for Von Miller. Like, wow, they don't have a 1st, and they're sending their 2nd and 3rd. And when you have Aaron Donald in the middle, and you have Leonard Floyd on one side, and now you have Von Miller on the other, there's no answer. You can't put help everywhere. You can't put help up the middle against the most unblockable defensive lineman in the league. You want to put a tight end on one side, well, you can't put another one on the other side because now Joe Burrow's got nobody to throw to, and Jalen Ramsey is out there. So it really is a riddle that they're going to have to sort through. Zach Taylor's going to have to sort through. And you already said it. 1, run the football effectively. 2, get the ball out of your hands quick. And
quick throws, yeah.
Quick throws. And I think the other thing, too, is it's something that Zach Taylor and that Sean McVay do a lot of, and that's pre-snap, disguise, motion. Try to slow that defensive attack down just a half second, a beat, in order to get them on their heels as opposed to with their ears pinned back coming upfield. The other thing is, maybe they just don't have to. I've never seen anything like it. I've never seen a guy take 9 sacks, get hit 12 times, and I mean get rocked, get absolutely knocked out. We were having a conversation with Mark Sanchez yesterday, and he said when something like that happens, he said everybody drops their eyes. You start thinking about what's coming. He said the fact that Burrow never did that once and went through progression 1 to 2 to 3, the rest of the game, it doesn't make sense. Nobody's able to do that. So maybe that's the answer.
The only one in recent memory was Eli Manning in the NFC Championship game against the 49ers, really taking a pounding. Here's the other thing, though, and they do a little bit of this, and Zach Taylor certainly knows from his time with Sean McVay, got to move him. He don't have him be a sitting, particularly early in the game. I would break that rhythm as much as possible with having my quarterback move. Do not have him be a sitting duck. We even saw Kyler Murray was just sitting there back there on that play in the end zone there. You do not want to have that. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see that early in the game just to kind of get him comfortable and to get the Rams defense feeling like, where's the moving target? We got to go find him.
And just quickly, we talked about him earlier. It's nice having a 6-foot, 225-pound back there to help you in pass protection. And Joe Mixon is a heck of a pass protector. All right, now I can tell you about Calvin Johnson, who's going to be joining us next. Boy, I take the hat off and I lose my brains fall out of my mouth. Hall of Fame wide receiver Calvin Johnson will join us to hear from that prolific passing attack between he and Matthew Stafford and his thoughts on Stafford making his debut in Super Bowl 56. Next on Super Bowl Today, presented by Bud Light Seltzer.
Get your Super Bowl Sunday started with NFL Game Day Morning, starting at 9 a.m. Eastern. Matthew Stafford looks to become the second Rams quarterback to win a Super Bowl. Before the biggest game of his life, he sits down with the first one to do it, R. Kurt Warner.
Being able to hoist the Lombardi and then eventually get a ring would be a dream come true.
Kurt also catches up with Joe Burrow as he tries to bring the Bengals their first championship. And Mooch has a highly caffeinated chat with Sean McVay to find out what he'll do differently in his second Super Bowl. We'll also look back at the last Super Bowl played in Los Angeles with some help from Jimmy Johnson, Emmitt Smith, and Frank Reich.
I never forget Michael and I walking out of the tunnel, and it was like, man, this is huge.
All that plus appearances by Snoop Dogg, Ice Cube, Drew Barrymore, Shaq, Clayton Kershaw, Anthony Anderson, and more. And we'll be joined live on set by Mark Wahlberg and Channing Tatum. It's 8.5 hours of fun, and it all starts Super Bowl Sunday at 9 a.m. Eastern.
At least you're in the photo. That makes me feel. Calvin Johnson played 135 games in his career, and he averaged 15.9 yards per reception. It's just ridiculous. That's why he was part of the class of 2021 for the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Caught up with our Good Morning Football crew.
Yeah, we're all on his coattail vicariously for sure. You know, definitely rooting for him. You know, Matthew, heck of a leader. You know, all the good times that we had together in Detroit, not just me, but all of us collectively as a team. You know, we're all rooting for him here because we know how hard the guy works. And he's just a heck of a guy. He's a heck of a pro. You know, you always want to see those guys that do it right, you know, have success.
Cooper Kupp.
You two separated at birth, basically the same person. Calvin Johnson and Cooper. Can't even tell you guys apart. However, you do have one thing in common. Your record-breaking 2012 season, Calvin, was nearly eclipsed by Cooper Kupp. This guy fell 18 yards short. So level with us. Were you watching that game? What were you thinking as he was creeping toward the record? And just tell us Calvin Johnson's thoughts on Cooper Kupp in general.
I definitely watched that. You know, I'm trying to watch Matthew as much as I can, even though on the East Coast we're not getting all of his games. But yeah, of course I watched it, man. Everybody was on my phone like, "Oh, this might be the game." I'm like, "Oh, shoot, it might be." He was going ham. I honestly expected him to get it because he was going absolutely bonkers out there.
All right, so Calvin, I got to ask you. You got Cooper Kupp, you got OBJ, you got Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, so many receivers that are capable of breaking this game wide open at any given moment. Which group of wide receivers are you taking? Who do you like? And don't tell me the Matthew Stafford crew.
I'm definitely going with the Matthew Stafford crew, more than because of just the Matthew Stafford crew. We got some experience over there. You got Odell, you got Cooper Kupp, you know, and I love my guy Van Jefferson. You know, he's dealing with a little injury there, but that's Sean Jefferson's young seed. He was there watching us back in the day when he was like, waist high in Detroit, watching us practice. You know, so to see him catching touchdowns today from Matthew, that's pretty dope.
It's cool. It's also cool because you've got a special relationship with the head coach of the LA Rams that goes all the way back to Atlanta high school football.
Here we go.
We'll go down this road. This is the Matthew Stafford and Clayton Kershaw were high school teammates. Stat of the day. Back in 2003, Sean McVay beat out Calvin Johnson for the Georgia State Player of the Year. Marist High School in Brookhaven. What do you remember about McVay, the player back then? And do you feel like you were snubbed? I mean, even he says now, like, it was kind of ridiculous that he did
look at Cal. He's like, yes.
See, I don't remember anything. I mean, that would happen if I get it now. I get it. If that happened in 2003, I graduated in 2004, so maybe that wasn't on my radar at the time. Because when I heard about it in my last year in the league, when McVay came into the scene, that's the first time I heard about it. I had never heard about it before that. And to that point, I mean, each year the seniors had like a Super 11 in Atlanta, like the top 11 players. He wasn't on that list, so I guess it makes sense now. If he graduated in 2003, that makes sense because I was 04.
Well, let's pull up another thing that you're never asked about. Calvin, about you coming back and playing again. No, listen, when you retire, when you did, people's perception is that it's earlier than you could have, you're always going to have to ask the question, could you come back? Would you come back? Barry got it for years, too. Never mind, will you? We know you're very happy in your life and your businesses. Could you? Next year, if out of nowhere you decide you want to come back and play in the NFL, could you do it this fall?
And I'll tell you what I told Matthew earlier this season. I was like, hey, man, I got a couple red zone routes in me. I could jump. Okay. I got half my vertical. But if I get out there running around, man, my ankle's gonna swell up and turn into water balloons, man. It's not. I can't even sustain for a half.
I would think, Money, if you're an active Hall of Fame player, you got to walk into the stadium every Sunday in your gold jacket. You just have
I'm with you. I don't know why you would ever take it off. Calvin Johnson passed, of all things, and the numbers we mentioned are ridiculous, but the eyeball test. Like, you just watched him on the field, and there was nobody that looked like him, nobody that played like him. These are three finalists here for the 2022 Hall of Fame class: Andre Johnson, Torrey Holt, Reggie Wayne. You look at the numbers. All of them look to be Hall of Famers, and all of them likely will be Hall of Famers at some point. But of those three names, which one stands out?
Money, imagine that I told you had to make the Super Bowl with this list of quarterbacks that you're going to play over your career.
All right, I'm ready.
Matt Schaub, number one, the most that you're going to play with.
Yeah.
Love you, David Carr, our colleague here at NFL Network. Love you. But early in the career, things were not going right around him. He was kind of getting sacked a lot and all over the place. Okay, so David Carr. Sage Rosenfels. Oh. Like you, Sage.
Good old Sage.
Full-in guy, bridge guard. Case Keenum. Ryan Fitzpatrick, Tony Banks, Matt Hasselbeck, Andrew Luck, but that was for a brief minute. I don't even remember Calvin Johnson on the Titans, to be honest with you.
There it is.
But there it is. Thank you for the visual proof
Andre
there.
Johnson.
So Marcus, who did I say? Calvin Johnson. Andre Johnson. That's why I don't remember Calvin, because he didn't play. But Andre Johnson's the guy I'm talking about. So Marcus Mariota, Dave Ragone, Charlie Whitehurst, Ryan Lindley, Josh Freeman, Jake Delhomme, Andre Johnson.
Oh, Whitehurst.
What? He's on his own list? Did he throw a pass to himself? Why is Andre Johnson on this list? I don't know. But you get the point that I'm driving at here. Andre Johnson was just phenomenal.
So in the case of Andre Johnson, it's the same as Calvin Johnson, right? You look at them, and the way they looked playing that position on the football field, it didn't quite make sense. You know, we all fawn and our mouths agog about, oh, DK Metcalf, have you seen what he looks like? Or A.J. Brown. Yeah, that's what Andre Johnson and Calvin Johnson were. And there's a couple of them every era. Andre Johnson was that. I think the one thing in the case for Torrey Holt and for Reggie Wayne, let's start with Reggie Wayne, our colleague for a long time here. Look, Peyton Manning's got to throw to someone, and he wanted to throw to one guy more than anybody else, and it was Reggie Wayne. And so you think about how prolific Peyton Manning's career was. 14,000 yards are not just because Peyton Manning was throwing to him. It's because Reggie Wayne was an exceptional receiver and made that one of the most, if not the most feared offense in the league for a good 5-year run.
And Marvin Harrison had to get fed, too. So to be able to get your yardage when he was on the same field is certainly impressive there. So, hey, listen, Torrey Holt was an awesome player, too. No, any of these guys, they will all get in eventually.
Yeah.
So there's no disrespect to any of these guys.
Torrey Holt was so physical. You think about Isaac Bruce.
Yeah.
And if you've ever been around Isaac Bruce in person, he is not a big guy.
No.
So Torrey had to do all the dirty work for the greatest show on turf. And again, much like the Colts we talk about, prolific offense. This was the most prolific offense in the league for a 3 to 4 year run, and that was the guy that did everything and anything that his head coach
And those
had.
guys suffered. I remember Isaac Bruce, this being a sore point for him, was that people thought, well, it was just the offense and it was just Kurt Warner and all that stuff. Like, no, these guys had individual talents. They were the reason that the offense was as good as it was. So Torrey Holt, no slight to you. Again, all three of these guys eventually going to have their
they're going to all get in. And you know what they're going to do? They're going to wear their jacket everywhere they go. Per Mike Garafolo. NFL honors. You want to see a man in the crowd getting excited when winners are announced. This man right here, Mike Garafolo, will be there. It's Thursday, February 10th, 9, 8 Central. It'll be on all and each of these networks, ABC, ESPN+, and, of course, on NFL Network. A lot of awards to be sorted out. The most interesting going to be that MVP, Cooper Kupp. Does he have a shot at it? Triple crown. Ends up getting the most receptions, touchdowns, and yards in a single season.
I've got a point to make on that tomorrow. So
You
let's
do?
save it for them. We're coming back 23 hours from now, same time, same channel, not a channel, website, whatever it is. You can find us. In the meantime,
I know I'm thinking about it.
Yeah.
I'm actually thinking about it.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about
How you thinking? Do it.
You know, classic cola, cherry cola, orange soda might be the one I go to.
Yeah.
Why not nostalgia?
Like the old Minute Maid you used to drink as a kid, just a little different.
Exactly right. Or I guess it depends where you come from, right? You know, for me, it would be the old Orange Crush.
Yeah,
but I get myself the.
We'll take the makeup off. We'll change. They'll be cold by then. Let's get some ice.
Right, exactly right. Big thank you to all of you for watching. As you get a look, oh, there it is, the Santa Monica Pier. Big thank you to Super Bowl Today viewers, presented by the new Bud Light Seltzer Hard Soda. Seltzer with the Papa Soda, offering 4 classic soda flavors, the loudest flavors ever.